358, 358 in our great hymnal, rank by rank. Rank, again we stand, rank by rank. And all the hymns today, Linda, invite that Linda on again today. Linda will be playing them all the way through once, and then we'll sing them together.
Welcome, beloved community. As we begin, please turn off all electronic devices, and I invite you to enjoy the chapel in the back of the sanctuary and note joys and concerns in the book there. Today is an intergenerational service, so all are welcome to remain here during the whole service, no matter how wiggly or noisy you might be. However, I do want to offer the fact that we have live streaming downstairs, both in the social hall and in the nursery. So if for whatever reason you feel more comfortable going down there, you are more than welcome to do so. And after the service, we invite everyone downstairs to enjoy hospitality and the opportunity to greet one another. Please note the announcements in your order of service with the many ways to be engaged in this vibrant community. As you all may know, we have an auction coming up on November 10th, and we really hope that you'll all make an effort to attend. It's our big, happy event of the year, and it's a lot of fun. Come, whoever you are welcome here. No matter your age, your size, the color of your eyes, your hair, your skin, you are welcome here. No matter whom you love, how you speak, or whatever your abilities, you are welcome here. You are welcome here whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears. You are welcome here. If you come here with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands, you are welcome here.
Thank you, Ann. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. And I feel like I say this every week. It's been another terrible week. So let's all do some sighing. Everyone take a big inhale and exhale, audible sigh. One more time. You're in this sanctuary. Let me welcome you to this sanctuary, this Unitarian Universalist sanctuary. And I've been thinking a lot about welcome lately. Sometimes I go to other churches' websites, not in our denomination, and I read how they couch their welcome, what they say about welcome, especially how they explain their theology. And I've seen some language on some church websites that's so vague, so Pollyanna, that I think they really are welcoming, but I know enough about their theology to know that they're not. So I want to take this opportunity to be, in light of all of it, to be explicit about how we're welcoming, how we welcome people. So it's really about what we do, not what we say. So if a person is a member or a friend of South Valley, they're eligible for all the life rituals, all the sacraments, to use a religious word. And that means that we are proud to marry same-sex couples. That means that we don't ask what someone believes before we dedicate their children. That means that the right of ordination, the ability to be a minister, is available to everyone. And I'm proud again to say that among you ministers, more than half are women, and about a third identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and queer. And I wanted to spell that out, the LGBTQ acronym that we spit out so fast, because we need to name that now, because there are people who want to erase those identities. And that is wrong. That is wrong. So we practice real welcome here at South Valley, and that makes us a life-affirming and life-saving church. So it matters. I want to thank everybody who picked up the slack while I was on retreat with the ministers from all over the Mountain Desert District. I was out in north of Santa Fe. I appreciate how everyone is so busy. And I know there's a lot of work going on with the auction. If you haven't bought your tickets or made your donations, come on, people. Now's the time. It's going to be a super fun night. All right. In the spirit of all that busyness, all of our storm outside the church, today we consider what the rhythms of the seasons and the rhythms of our lives teach us, how they're related to each other. And today we're going to use ritual to take time out of time. So I encourage everyone to use our ritual time as kind of a mini retreat. For those 10 minutes or so, let's try to drop into a different way of being, can be connected to what grounds us. So in that spirit, come, let us worship together. I invite you to rise in body or spirit to sing hymn number 54 in our gray hymnals, Now the Light is Less.
remain standing for the chalice lighting. I've invited Fred Gurney to light our chalice. Please join us in saying our chalice lighting words. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, for the light of truth, and for the energy of action. Thank you. Rabindranath Tagore was a beloved Bengali poet, musician, and artist who was both a deep admirer and critic of Mahatma Gandhi. And he was the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913. Please join me in engaging with one of his poems through a responsive reading, number 540 in your gray hymnal. And I ask that you respond by reading the italicized text. Today, the peace of autumn pervades the world.
The radiant noon, silent and motionless, the wide stillness rests like a tired bird.
Spreading over the deserted fields to all horizons, the wings of golden green.
Today, the thin thread of the river flows without song, leaving no mark on its sandy banks.
The many distant villages bask in the sun with eyes closed in idle and languid slumber.
In the stillness, I hear in every blade of grass.
In every speck of dust, in every part of my own body, in the visible and invisible worlds.
In the planets, the sun, and the stars, the joyous dance of the atoms remains the sun.
Please join me for a moment when we bring our highest intentions to the fore. Regardless of what we believe, prayer helps us bring focus to our deepest hopes and concerns. Through prayer, regardless of what we believe about who's listening, we name our intentions, and that in turn helps us to better live out those intentions. We lift up all those who are struggling with illness, be it physical or mental, emotional or spiritual. May they find comfort and healing. We lift up those who are struggling to find work and financial security. May they know that their value transcends mere dollars. We remember all those who are forced to flee their home in order to simply live with security and dignity. May all refugees find shelter and safety. We pray for those affected by the shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. May they recover fully. And may we as a nation free ourselves from our unholy religion of guns. We condemn all language that signals approval of anti-Semitism. May we interrupt all bigotries as we see them. We lift up our fifth principle, affirming the democratic process. May we remember our sacred responsibility to vote. We remember those times that we failed to live into our best selves, and we seek to understand those that have hurt us. We forgive ourselves, we forgive each other, and we begin again in love. We give thanks for this congregation. May we find comfort and growth as we strive together to live as Unitarian Universalists. And we lift up all the Unitarian Universalist congregations across this continent. May we find success as a movement and continue to earn our name as the love people. For these prayers and the prayers held in our hearts unspoken, we bring our best energy. May they be so, and may we all be held in the heart of love. Please remain seated as we sing hymn number 123, 123, Spirit of Life, in our great hymnal.
Before we move into our offertory, I wanted to talk for a minute to all of you, my young and let young friends, about this time of year. In pagan traditions, the circle of the year, actually, think about this for a minute. Envision the year as a circle. I often think of it as a straight line from January to December. I invite you to imagine it as a circle. And imagine that circle is divided into 8 parts. So you've got 8 high holidays or Sabbats. They mark the passage of the Earth's journey around the sun. So at one side of the circle and directly across from the circle, you would have the 2 solstices. One is the summer solstice and the winter solstice across from each other. At those days when we are either the closest to the sun or the furthest from the sun, depending on which hemisphere of the earth we live in. Then, on the other 2 sides, so envision those 2 sides of the circle. Look at the top and the bottom, perhaps. Those are the equinoxes. Those are the times of the year when the days and the nights are equal. That's where equinox comes from. The days and nights last about the same time. And then imagine that in between each of those 4 points on our circle is another marking point, another holiday, another Sabbat. These are the halfway times between the days growing longer and the days growing shorter. Samhain, The holiday that preceded and is now coincides with All Souls and Halloween marks the time in our hemisphere when we are halfway between an equinox and the winter solstice. We are halfway to the shortest day of the year. We are facing getting less and less sunlight every day. When we get to winter solstice, we can celebrate that the sun will be returning, but for now, we are simply watching it fade away. I think this is a very hard thing. I think you can tell by the language I chose. Starhawk in the book Circle Round says, "We are heading into the darkness. Each day gets shorter and shorter until we reach the summer solstice. The sun seems to weaken and grows weaker and weaker until we fear winter may last forever." That is my worst nightmare. But in the pagan tradition, darkness is not something bad or something to fear. Of course, we wouldn't want the world to be dark all of the time. That's why we're so happy when the sun comes back, when it returns after the long nights of winter. But light and dark must always be in balance. We know that without the dark time, nothing could live or grow. And without the nighttime, we would have no day. We would have no chance to rest or sleep. So as pagans, Starhawk says, we see winter as the time to restore ourselves, nursing the creativity that would perish with strong exposure to light. I invite you to join me in this prayer, if you will. We celebrate Samhain. It is the end of the harvest, the last days of summer, and the cold nights wait on the other side for us. The bounty of our labor, the abundance of the harvest, the success of the hunt, all lies before us. We thank the earth for all it has given us in this season, and yet we look forward to winter, a time of sacred darkness. It is our practice here at South Valley to split our worship service offerings with a charitable organization or a program that aligns with our values and principles. For September and October, we have been donating to American Nepali Students and Women's Educational Relief, ANSWER, a nonprofit, nonpartisan, non-religious organization that currently empowers over 600 low-caste children and youth by providing them from 12 to 15 years of education, all the way through college, with careful academic and career counseling. Will you join with me in saying the words printed in your order of service for our offering? We are this church. We are its hands, its heart, its voice. Together we share in the wealth of this community and sustain it with our gifts. the American Nepali Students and Women's Educational Relief, and all of us here at South Valley, thank you for your gifts.
Blessings on these gifts and these givers. Let us come now into a time of ritual. We take this time to reflect on the rhythms of the season and the rhythms of our lives. We acknowledge that change is continuous and that sometimes change reveals itself to be good, even when it doesn't appear that way at the time. We take this time to reflect on the uses and necessity of darkness. Without darkness, there would be no light. In the darkness of winter, nature stores up energy for the great emerging of spring. And as we think about darkness, we know that for some, the darkness is about loss and grief and mourning, and we want to name that as being a real thing. So I invite you now to turn your thoughts to the ancestors, and I want to do a call and response. So after my words, please respond, "We remember them. We remember them." We lift up our spiritual ancestors, James Reeb and Viola Liuzzo and Theodore Parker, and all those who shaped Unitarian Universalism as a religion of truth and love. We remember them. We lift up all the victims of violence. We remember them. We lift up John Hirol and John Carrillo. We remember them. And I invite you now to call into this sacred space the names of loved ones that you are remembering. Perhaps they passed recently or long ago. Go ahead and say their names out loud. We remember them. For all these and those not named, we remember them. I'd like to describe our ritual today. It has two parts. First, you're invited to come up to the altar and light a candle in the memory of an ancestor or loved one. Once you've lit a candle, you can go outside and plant a daffodil bulb. So we're planting it in the bulbs to the left and right of the doors, the front doors. And a quick technical note about bulbs. Well, I have a visual aid. There is a fuzzy end and a pointy end. And you want to plant the fuzzy end down, so you can just grab it and feel where it's fuzzy. Fuzzy end goes down, and you want to plant it about 6 inches deep. And there are trowels outside to assist with the digging. And if you'd like assistance with either of these tasks, please put your hand up now. And after we've completed the ritual, we ask that you return to the sanctuary. So keep the spirit of retreat, of meditation, of the holy with you as you go through these rituals. And I invite you to begin. with these candles, with these bulbs. We honor our ancestors, even as we hold out our hope for new life. We remember that light and dark coexist and commingle, and we celebrate them both as sources of creation. May the rhythms of the season and the rhythms of our lives feed us and heal us. May it be so. I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our closing song in the Teal Hymnal number 1055, How Sweet the Darkness. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of community, the love that loves, or the action of action. These we hold in our hearts until we meet again. There are still bulbs left, so if folks would like to continue planting outside, you're invited to do so. May the rhythms of the seasons and the rhythms of our lives feed us and heal us. Our worship is over, our service begins. Go in peace.